previous. My mom was a very religious woman, and she used to sit with the Bible on her lap, and she believed in God, and she believed in everything that the Bible said. Myself, she was always criticizing because I did things contrary to the way she believed that they should be done, and I sometimes asked the Lord to bless things in the improper manner, and she always was telling me that I was doing wrong. And so, in any event, approximately 4 years previous to August of '94, she'd had a stroke and was unable to do things for herself and was in a nursing home. And so I guess basically from here I'll tell you what happened in August of '94. My dad came over to talk to me after work and told me that we needed to go to the nursing home and see Mom because that the nursing home had called and indicated that she was close to death. We left, and I told my dad that we would go over, and I took him over most of the time every night anyhow, but we left and went over to the home. And of course, when we got there, she was slightly worse because they were vacuuming some phlegm out of her mouth and said that she had some pneumonia. But really her physical condition and so forth really hadn't deteriorated, in my opinion, from what it had been the night before. So in any event, we stayed at the nursing home until about 9 o'clock. And so, in any event, my dad came out and asked me what I thought because really the nursing home to me was a chamber of horrors and not some nice smells and an unpleasant place to be. And I told Dad that I didn't think her condition had changed and that I thought we should go home for the evening and then come back tomorrow or tomorrow night, see how she was at that time, that if there was any change in her condition, that of course they would call us. I came home that night and I didn't feel very well, so I went to bed just after we got home from the nursing home, which was a little after 9, and I went to sleep. And so I was sleeping, and in the night, there was a presence that came. And when I awoke, there was a cloaked figure over my bed. The figure wore a blanket, like a brownish blanket robe, tied with a rope, and motioned for me to come with him, or with it. You couldn't see the face, it was just dark. I should have been startled, scared, or jumped up or something, but I felt very comfortable, and I came with the person. And to my astonishment and amazement that when I got up, I was floating above my bed, and my body was laying on the bed next to my wife. And at that particular time, I was surprised, but I still felt the present wanted me to come, and I felt an urge to go. And we went out through the wall into the night sky. It came up a thunderstorm, and it was thundering and lightning, and the air was so fresh and filled with electricity, like just after a rain and so forth, how fresh that the air smells, and I could feel the water on my face as it hit my face. And we flew out over the top of the fruit orchard that was in front of our house, or in front of my house, and we hovered there for a second and looked up at the stars in the skies, and there was like 3 stars in the northeastern sky. And we started traveling, and we traveled at a speed unlike any speed that I had ever traveled at. The rain on my face felt just like needles, and we vastly moved out in toward those stars, out of the atmosphere, leaving the Earth behind and heading for these 3 stars. And when we got to these 3 stars, there was a brilliant flash we were in a blue tunnel. And we traveled through this blue tunnel, and there were snowflakes of light in the tunnel, brilliant snowflakes of light, and they were all traveling toward the end of the tunnel where there was a very bright light. And when we came out of the tunnel, it was like a vortex in the sky, and as we looked down, there was a meadow, and it had pine trees and all sorts of rolling hills filled with flowers and beautiful bushes and so forth, and two magnificent mountains, snow-capped. And the figure that I was with, we flew up to the mountaintop, and there was a platform there. And I remember looking back at the meadow and the flowers and was astonished at all the beautiful music that I was hearing in the background, unlike any music that I'd ever heard before. And I looked back at the sky and saw the big blue hole in the sky that we just came through. And I looked back, and the figure was gone. And my mom was standing there. And she was young. She was as she was when I was a 4 or 5-year-old child. And she wanted me to look down on the other side of the mountain. And she didn't have to tell me with her voice. I could feel every feeling in her entire body. I could feel her love. I could feel what she wanted me to do without her having to physically speak. And I looked down from the platform on the mountain, and I saw Bedouin City. And in the Bedouin City, there was tents. They were square tents. They were green. They came to a point on the roof, and they were trimmed in gold on the square of the roof. Very beautiful scalloped gold design. And there was oxen, and there was donkeys, and there appeared to be a very large celebration going on in the square. And we flew on down to the celebration, and there was large hand-carved wood tables. And on these wood tables were anything that you wanted to eat or drink. And the hand-carved tables were very, very unique, and they were very, very long. I mean, they were probably 70 foot long, and there was all sorts of golden goblets and chalices and so forth with liquids and beverages to drink and food, and the people were friendly, and my mom wanted to introduce me to everyone, and I was there, and I was trying to comprehend everybody that was there and so forth, and she was trying to introduce me. And in the square was like a stage, hand-carved, and on this stage were 3 thrones. And on the 3 thrones, one throne, the center throne, was higher than the other thrones, and there was an old man sitting in that throne, and he was wearing sort of a whitish robe, and to his, which would be to his left or my right, was a younger man, probably in his 40s, and he had a beard and hair and was wearing sandals and wearing more of the robe like the person that he came to get me. And to his right was a figure dressed in a robe just like the person who came to get me, excepting his face glowed like the sun. And when he looked at me, I felt empty. In my life, I had never felt so empty. And when he looked at me, I felt like I was a bottle being filled. I had never felt the kind of love that I felt when he looked at me. And I just couldn't believe the love. And the love from the people around me, I could feel everyone's emotions, everyone's thoughts, and everybody was filled with love. And I was there, and the old man on the center throne, he was looking around at the crowd. And when he looked around at the cloud, he saw me. And when he saw me, his eyes was like lightning or piercing. And when he looked at me, it was like lightning coming from his eyes. And he says, "He does not belong." And the clouds above the area started gathering and looking ominous, sort of like, if you've ever seen Cecil B. DeMille's The Ten Commandments, when Moses parted the sea, that type of cloud. In the middle of the storm that was raging, and in the sky with the clouds as they were, there was a parting in the clouds, and there was light. And there was two beautiful women dressed in long white gowns, and they came down, and each one of them grabbed me under my arms. And they were stronger than any man that I've ever had grab me, and they lifted me up. And in a few moments, my mom turned. She was reaching out to me, and after a couple of seconds, as we neared the top of the mountain, she turned away and went back to the people that she was with. And we got to the top of the mountain, and I didn't want to leave. I really didn't want to leave. And the two women were there, and the one woman looked at me, and she says, "Now you will see what you will never enter into." And with that, I looked, and then they lifted me up, and we headed back across to the hole in the sky. And then back through the blue tunnel, back out into space, closer to the earth. I could feel the rain, and again, all the senses of the atmosphere as we traveled down through, and we came back to my house, and we went through the wall of the house, and we hovered on the ceiling. The room was sort of brightly orangish lit, and they let me go and dropped me on my bed. And when I hit the bed, when I fell into my body, if you can believe this, it was like if your car had got away from you and you were trying to jump in it and regain control, and all of a sudden you're in the driver's seat and you're just looking around and you don't know what to grab first. But my entire body felt like your arm does when you lay on it. It was tingling. I didn't know what I wanted to do first, whether I wanted to throw up or what I wanted to do. My wife, I'd hit the bed so hard it rolled out and hit the floor. And I got up and went to the bathroom, and I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do first. I mean, and it took me several minutes to regain my composure to what was going on. But I thought that I'd had one terrific nightmare. So after I got myself settled down and got through throwing up and whatever, why, I started back to the bedroom, and the interesting thing was, every clock in the house was stopped. And the time was approximately 2:35 a.m. was what was on my watch. But every clock in the house was stopped at 12:05 a.m. The electric clocks, the mechanical clocks, every clock in the house excepting the wristwatch on my arm. Well, in any event, I went back to bed, went to sleep, got up the next morning, and went to work. And my dad came in and he says, "Well, son, she's gone." I said, "What?" He says, "Mom, she's gone." I said, "What do you mean?" I says, "Well," says, "I went over to the nursing home this morning and says, they asked me to go home and get some personal things for her, and I realized I got about halfway home that she already had those things. I went back to the nursing home, and they had loaded her in the hearse and had left." I guess the basic thing that I hadn't told you to this time was that evidently like what happened to me wasn't a dream. And I guess, basically, I had in anger several times told my mom that if she could ever prove to me that there was a God, that I would believe. And I basically, up until that time, had been afraid of death. But the thing about it was that I was no longer afraid. She had used whatever, whether she snuck me in or used all the brownie points or whatever, but she actually proved to me that I shouldn't be bitter about her days of suffering, and that I shouldn't hate God, and that I should believe in God, and that there's something after life. But I want to share the experience with you. I was asked to make the tape. Basically, I also wanted to state at this point in time, at the time that I made this tape, that I have prostate cancer. But you know, I'm really not worried about prostate cancer. Nobody can figure out why I've got a very serious cancer. It's not bothering me. And I don't know if I'm going to go where she's going. But I think that the few moments I spent there was worth it. If this tape helps you, I hope it does.